American way. We are Americans working with Americans. When I say Americans, I mean North Americans, not just US. We are a licensed real estate agency in France, and we have soup to nuts services, which includes consultation, search, sales and listings. We can help someone make a purchase or a sales assistance. We do appraisals. We have financing resources. We offer renovation and decoration. Anything you need from the beginning to end, we do, including starting with consultations to help you get direction, understand, where it is you would like to live, how to make the transition, how to get the best visa, etc. The reason we exist is mainly because there's no multiple listing service in France. That means that you can't go to one agent and have access to all properties. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that down the road. But remember that in France, everything is different. The process is different. The laws are different. The language is different. The currency is different. The culture is really different. Everything is different. So without someone or like us, an organization, you're going to have a hell of a hard time making this transition. I came to France in 1979 and I fell in love. How many people have done that? You walked in, you go, oh my God, this is the most incredible place. I never wanted to leave even then. So years later, in 1994, my then husband and I decided to go for a year and see what it was like. Well, that was 30 years ago. A couple years later, I got rid of the husband, but I kept the daughter. At the time, I didn't speak any French, and I can tell you that learning French is a challenge, but it's doable, it happens, and maintenant, je parle français. One of the things I did in order to learn French was I started a French-English conversation group, which is 1998. It is now operating again in Nice after many years, and it was just the way that I decided I wanted to learn French, so that was a big help. I had to do things to find ways of earning money, because when I came, I was on a visitor visa, the one that I talked about earlier, and for 10 years, I didn't have the right to work in France legally. And so I can tell you that when I was talking earlier about the LLC versus C Corp, I do know what I'm talking about because I learned it by the seat of my pants. Believe it or not, I wrote the first restaurant guide to Paris online, shocking as it may seem. And I ended up working for a web developer for several years, so I learned how to hard code HTML. But in 2001, I was recruited by Bill Bonner to open the Paris office for International Living. And so I am forever thankful to International Living for really helping me set up my life. Now, I did leave and I did go off on my own, and here I am, standing before you. Come on, we all know the benefits of living in France. I mean, okay. Beauty, I don't care where you go, the country is absolutely gorgeous. Culture, art, culture, music, cuisine, you name it, it's got it. Diversity, everywhere. There's cityscape, there's landscape, there's every sort of, in one small package the size of Texas is absolutely everything you could need or desire. There is, of course, the joie de vivre. Someone used that term to talk about Italy, which was funny to me, since it's French. Security. France has a really huge safety net, and it means that you've got the best health care in the world that's very, very inexpensive, about 1/10 of what it costs in the US. And you have incredible employment and retirement benefits. That is, if you are, working in France. Education. Quality education is free of charge, all the way through college. That means if you've got kids, you are not saving up forever to be able to afford to send them to college. It's pretty amazing. Infrastructure. The most incredible transportation system you've ever come across. Do you know that if the SNCF train, if your train is 30 minutes late, they will refund a part of your ticket because they believe they need to be on time? Ever take the train in Italy? I have a story to tell. I talked earlier today also about the cost of the internet and TV and phone system. 35 euros a month for that. You can add a cell phone on for 16 euros a month. This is true. I have it with me. That has unlimited usage to 113 countries. And when you travel outside of France, it's free within that country and it's free back to France. So I am on a cell phone right now for 16 euros a month. It costs me nothing. This is why the cost of living is really insanely inexpensive in France. And as I also said earlier, France and US have the best tax treaty in all of Europe. And that's a really important feature. You are not taxed in France on your retirement income or your investments. So if you're coming over as a retiree, you're not going to pay a penny to France. You have the right, believe it or not, to health care, which will pay up to 70% of your health care costs. Once you have a visa, after 90 days, you can then apply for the French healthcare system. And the healthcare costs about 1/10 of what it costs in the United States. I've been there 30 years, and I can tell you that the healthcare is amazing, and I can tell you stories all day long, so if you come to my table, I will tell you some of them. The WHO does rank France #1 healthcare in the world. It is the truth. Now, there's a lot of France to love. We didn't talk about Paris, but Paris is Paris. I mean, come on. It's the center of the universe. It is the cultural mecca of the planet. And people think that Paris is very, very expensive, but it is not very, very expensive. In fact, while property might be expensive to own, it is very inexpensive to rent because of rent controls and other things. And I think if you compare Manhattan with Paris, you'll see that the price of property might be about the same, but the rents in Paris are about half of what they are in Manhattan by comparison. So if you really want the ultimate in lifestyle, I think Paris is it. But it's urban, and it means that you certainly don't need a car. If you go to the Riviera, Nice is nice. I mean, Nice is heaven on earth, and Nice is about half the cost of Paris. I'm talking about property. Everything else is about the same. So whether it's your food or utilities or insurance, those things tend to be about the same across the country. So it really depends. Oh, I've got 5 minutes. I better run. Okay. The point is that you've got every opportunity in terms of lifestyle in France, and everywhere you go, you're going to fall in love. This is the most important thing I'm going to tell you today. You're going to fall in love wherever you go, but I want you to consider this checklist. It is very important that you have a thriving American community that you can draw from. You will have a real life. You will make more friends than you've ever made in your whole life because everyone there is like you. The second thing, transportation, easy access. If you're in a place where you can immediately get on a plane and go anywhere in Europe, you're going to have the best retirement you've ever had. So there are 4 international airports, 2 in Paris, 1 in Marseille, 1 in Nice. Immediate access is really a blessing. It also means that if you're living in an urban environment, you do not need to own and operate a car. I haven't had a car for 30 years. It's fabulous. Okay, access to good health care and hospitals. Do not be in a medical desert. Do not hole yourself up in some tiny village where you can't get good medical care quickly. At this age, I don't want to be without it, do you? So keep those things in mind. Now, if it's business, culture, you need to keep that in mind. Language. Be somewhere where you're not going to feel like you can't communicate with people. So if you're in a city that's international, like Paris or Nice, Strasbourg, other cities like that where you have a lot of different languages, you're going to feel a lot more comfortable. And so, the next thing is just to decide whether you really want urbanity or you want something more rural. We all know that renting gives you freedom, but you're paying somebody else's mortgage. So if you want to invest in a property, it's a longer term investment. Bottom line is, it's better. But when it comes down to that, the inheritance tax laws in France are really, okay, out the wazoo. So you just want to make sure that you structure the purchase in a way that your heirs are not going to pay too high a tax on inheritance taxes. Anyone can buy property in France. You do not need any kind of special visa. Immigration, purchase property, completely two separate things. There's no MLS, okay? So when you see an agent, and that agent only has access to their pocket of properties, which is why we as consultants and as property search people are able to scour the market and find everything that's on the market and negotiate for you. The agents care only about the seller. They don't care about what you buy. They will do or say anything just to make that sale, so you have to really be careful. It's not like the MLS is in the US. Our primary service is to find property for you. That is what we basically do. But we still get you from beginning to end. And one of the interesting parts is that the agency commission is built into every property price that you see. It's not on top of. If we have a commission share with an agent, we refund that back to you. So even though our fees are going to be about 3.5% of the price of the property, we might be able to get 2.5% back for you as a result. We work with mortgage brokers. Financing is difficult to get if you are over the age of 60 and if you're self-employed, but there are answers. Interest rates right now are about 4.5%. It takes about 3 to 6 months from the initial visit to finally making the transaction happen. A notaire manages the process. That is a lawyer designated to that transaction, and it's very safe. They dot their I's and cross their T's. There's nothing in question about it. There is a 10-day cooling off period. So even after you sign a pre-sale agreement, you can pull out of that transaction within 10 days, believe it or not. How we make the difference is we have your interest in mind. We don't care about the seller. We care about you. We want to make sure that the decision you make is the best decision you can make for you, period. So we kind of think of ourselves as an insurance policy in a way. And it's well worth it because, as I said, they will say almost anything. So here's how you can be a part of our team. Subscribe to our newsletters. If you come by our desk in the back office, in the back room, you just sign the fill-in sheet. We will make sure you're on our mailing list. Have you seen us on House Hunters International? Yeah! I just filmed my 55th show. There's only one other agent who's done as many shows as I have, and he's in England, and we love it. We do monthly gatherings where we bring together expats, and we always have a speaker, so it's always really interesting in Paris and in Nice. We do all sorts of webinars on Zoom, and you can book an individual consultation with either myself or one of my staff. And I have these words, and then I'm off, okay? Yes, we have helped thousands of people make this move. It starts with a consultation to strategize. I believe in getting professional advice no matter what it is you do. This is really, really important. But my personal advice to you is do not let fear get in the way of your move, okay? Because that is just debilitating. And if anybody's read Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, get it. And then I want you to do one last thing. Take the word expectation out of your vocabulary and replace it with the word hopes. And you will never be disappointed. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. Lovely stuff. Now,